Hey everyone, it's me just screaming into the void of the internet again, or whoever's even listening. I'm mainly doing these, I guess, for myself, to just give myself a way to get some goddamn air, a way to get my thoughts out of my head, stuff like that, And one of the things I wanted to talk about today, is mainly in relation to this just feeling that I feel. I don't know if anyone else can feel it. Maybe it's just me. Maybe everyone else is just like, moving forward as scheduled with their programming, with their lives and their misery. But this crap, something's gnawing at my head, and I can't shake it. I can't pretend like it's not there. I can't just disallow it. And I talk to my best friend about it every day because he's like the only other man on this planet right now that I feel even cares to some extent, and it's just that I feel like something's gonna happen. Something's gotta give, right? And it's not because of this idea that I think that life's meaningless or something like that. I'm not one of these doomers out here, and I don't say that, because I hate labels, but there are just people that they feel like they have to associate themselves with some kind of label in order to get a point across. They can't just talk about the same thing that the people who label themselves are talking about without feeling the need to self-identify with them. For some reason, everyone needs to just self-identify. I don't want to get too off topic, but what I'm trying to get at here is I'm sure that a whole bunch of people, if you're even watching this video somehow, are familiar with the term doomer. And basically they consider that to be someone who, just only looks at the negative and stuff like that. And they just see the world getting worse and worse. But I don't really consider a doomer someone just looking at the negative. I just think a doomer is just someone who looks at reality. Reality is very... It's very disappointing. You can only stare at it for so long before you need some kind of escape. And that's why people drink. That's why they do drugs. That's why they just, have as much sex as possible. They just try and get themselves on these highs so that they don't have to think about it, for as much as they have to. That's why they pursue, love, video games, whatever it is, But what I'm getting at here is that our reality right now, at least in America, right? At least in America, something's got to give. Something's got to give here. People aren't even living paycheck to paycheck anymore. People are just living off of freaking credit card debt and stuff like that. They're behind in every possible way you can think of. If they make sure rent's on time, their car payments are behind. Maybe the bills are behind. They're barely getting food and stuff like that, unless they have some kind of government aid. I feel like something's got to give. I feel like I'm perhaps one of the only people looking at this saying that, I just sense something. And I don't mean that based on any kind of psychic crap or astrology. By my calculations and the stars alignment. I'm not really saying that. I'm just... You cannot treat people like this forever and think that people aren't going to snap. And I'm noticing a lot more that when people do snap, they just don't give a rat's arse because they know how freaking meaningless their current lives are in the state that they are. It's not that life itself is meaningless, but this wage slavery crap where you don't ever own anything and you're just constantly paying bills and stuff like that. That's reaching its conclusion as more and more people just say, you know what, I've had enough of this cocksucker. I'm just gonna go ahead and smoke him. I'll go to jail. And then, you know what? It's less responsibility. It's less stress. It's less stress worrying about if you're actually going to freaking die or live in prison if you piss off the wrong person than it is out here, just paying all these goddamn bills and stuff like that in a freaking economy that continuously forces the cost of living to go up. You as an American citizen, as a law-abiding citizen, are paying more and stuff like that. And yet, these illegals come over here, and they're getting free housing. They're getting guaranteed jobs and stuff like that. And even if people will argue, because I have said this before if you've watched my previous videos, right? You know, sure, like, they're building them ghettos and stuff like that, but it's still a free house. Sure, maybe they're not giving them, like, the best cars, but they're still getting free cars. It may not be the most well-paying job, but then they're, like, essentially substituting it by, like, giving them government aid, like, in food stamps and dental care and all this stuff. Like, they're getting health insurance and stuff like that. The health insurance that they don't consider, like, essential, like dentistry and, like, dermatology and stuff like that, they're getting that stuff. And you're over here just barely able to get by. And whenever you tell someone this, especially these cunts, these goddamn old-timers that were like, well, back in my day, dumb arse, time has progressed. You know, like, one job is not supporting a whole family. Not by a long shot. And I don't think we were meant, personally, to just work ourselves to death. It's like the American dream is to literally leave America. That's just the truth. But I know it's probably easier said than done. Like, if you can at least get a job that's paying, like, $50K or something like that, it's probably a lot more feasible. If you just, like, become a full-on minimalist and just, I don't know, like, freaking live in an RV or live in a room and just save and save and save and save and save, then maybe. But these cocksuckers then try and, like, come after you over taxes. Like, I can't imagine anyone actually right now in this current environment thinking that they should, like, have the ability to, like, get a massive portion of your taxes. Like, if you're still on that, given how the freaking state is showing their preference towards the citizen and the illegal, I really don't. I don't know how you could possibly think that it is your duty to pay taxes right now, when the state is completely, in every fashion, ruining your life and actively making criminals' lives better. You know? I feel like criminals are way more free than a law-abiding citizen right now. The squatter has more rights to your house than you do in New York, in Chicago, in a whole bunch of these woke states. Meanwhile, the average working citizen has, like, little to nothing to their name. The idea that they'll own a house seems like a facade now. You know, it just seems like it's just out of reach, at least in this country. I just can't help but feel like something's got to give. Something's got to give, and I think what's going to give is our patience for the state. I think we're going to reach a point where, in YouTube's terms, the ground's going to start getting a lot redder, if you catch my drift. Because I'm seeing it more in small instances. People are over here excommunicating, hint, hint, other people for very small reasons at a surface level. At the surface level, you assume that it's a small reason. But you do not know the mental psyche of people right now. And it's actively gotten worse. It's gotten worse over the years because of how freaking cancerous everything has become. Did you honestly think that you were gonna just raise the cost of living, leave stagnant wages and stuff like that, and you thought that people weren't going to, like, just get miserable mentally? Did you think that miserable people would just lounge in their misery forever? Did you think that everyone would just do that? You'll have fighters. You'll have people that are going to just jump up and just start swinging at everything because they're done. They're done. And they've hit that point where they just don't care who they hurt anymore, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I don't agree, but I don't blame them. I look at, let's say, Mudar, if you catch my drift, because, you know, on this cancerous platform, apparently you can't talk about life. You can't talk about facts. You can't talk about that stuff. But I look at Mudar, you know, very differently. I do. Because in a lot of aspects, there are guys that are just screaming for help the whole time. They are begging for someone to acknowledge them and acknowledge their problems and try and just reason with them. What is going on? Why is this problem so prevalent? Have I really done something wrong? And sometimes they haven't done anything wrong. And life just continuously just shovels it into their freaking esophagus to just shut up. Just keep it bottled inside. Just keep it bottled inside. And they can't anymore. They can't. And for all these people telling them, oh, just go to therapy. Therapy doesn't do anything. The bill is still there. The cost of living is still there. What is therapy doing? Besides freaking destroying someone's morals even more than morals have already been destroyed. Therapy is completely infiltrated by wokies telling you to just completely throw away all assets of your life in pursuit of, like, carnality. That's all therapy is right now. It's just completely infiltrated. So anyone going to therapy, personally, in my opinion, is honestly just wasting your time. They really are. They really are, man. I feel like something's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen this year. I think we might see a little bit of the potential that's going to happen, especially in America, because this year is the presidential election, you know. It's presidential election year. And I think something's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be really bad, but I feel like if it does happen, it's going to be the surface level of what's actually going to happen. When people just say, you know, I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. You know? Because I foresee a lot of people just reaching that state right now. People are just excommunicating people for very small reasons at a glance, but then you look at what they're dealing with in their lives, and what the heck do you want from that person at that point? That person was being absolutely destroyed mentally, physically, spiritually, every day by this cocksucking society. And then when they snap, they're the bad guys. They're already the bad guys. Like, what the heck's the point of pretending to try and follow the state if, like, you're just automatically the bad guy, whether you're following the state or not? At least when you finally pop, you know what people usually say once they finally pop? They're at peace. Because they essentially dealt with the person that was causing them that much grief. It's like they finally retaliated at that problem. And when I hear people say, oh, like, you're glorifying those people. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But I'm going to tell you something straight up. There hasn't been a single change that has ever happened peacefully in the entirety of human history because peace does not get results. When someone thinks that they're safe, when someone thinks that all you're going to do is just talk to them, they can just ignore it. They can just lie and say that they'll change something. It's when people, unfortunately, start getting excommunicated, when the ground starts getting a lot redder, that is when results happen. Think about it like this, right? You see a lot of protests going on over a lot of stuff, right? You see protests going on in some of these like woke states over, like, the fact that they're destroying the states, and everyone knows it. Everyone's acknowledging it right now. And everyone's protesting, everyone's saying, oh no, this is awful, this is wrong. But the state's not doing anything. You know? And would you like to know why? Because at the end of the day, with one call from anyone with any kind of position of power, they can call, you know, the police, the state lapdogs, right? And they'll just come in there with tear gas, they'll come in there with the riot gear, and they'll just disband the protest. It is what it is. They're not afraid of protest. The only thing that really gets them afraid is when people start getting organized with the ability to say, this change is going to happen, or else. that's when the state tries to, like, say, all right, we got to go ahead and take them out. It's like the whole gun control crap where they think that, oh, it's about, you know, reducing the amount of gun violence, when it's really just about, we got to make sure that the average citizen is not on par with a police officer. That's what it's about. They don't want you to have the same firepower that they do. They could come at you with M4s and M16s, tear gas, riot gear, and all kinds of stuff, but the moment that you have it, then it's a problem. They will never disarm themselves. They'll disarm you. That's just the truth. I think that there is something on this horizon. And you know what? I hope that it happens. Because, in my opinion, I think we deserve it. I think we deserve it because we allowed it to get this far. I think we deserve it because of the sheer amounts of overwhelming, outright evil that is going on in this country right now. And you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to have any kind of overwhelming sense of, like, morality to understand that there's just blatant freaking evil going on in the world. But right now, it's just blatantly obvious. It's just completely obvious. It's not even funny. When you have people going in public schools, molesting kids, and then just getting off scot-free. When you have police officers time and time again just murdering people. Uh-oh, I said the word. I should have said Mudar, but maybe I'll get rolled now. I don't know. But when they're doing that to people, blatantly, and just saying, fear it for my life, even though you can look at the body cam footage and just see that they're laughing about it, they're smiling as they do it and stuff. And then they just get off and they retire early and they just get a check for the rest of their lives. When the people in Congress, in the White House, are doing everything that they can to just ruin your life and make it a living hell, as they sit in their little gated communities, I don't think anyone can look at that and just say that it's just not outright evil. I really don't. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. But I do know that it's going to be very, very unpleasant. It's going to be very messy. The grounds are going to get very, very red, and I don't know what's going to happen after that. But like I said, I think we deserve it. I really do. I think we deserve it. And, the only people I'll really feel bad for are the kids. I'll feel bad for them. But, that's about it. People-wise, like, I don't know, man, because we gotta eat my EPA, and I'm preaching to myself here, you know, like, what did we really do? What did I really do to stop this? You know? Why are we so obsessed with what the other person is doing? Why don't we all just take action? Why are we so cowardly? We only want to take action once we see enough people. That's why this has happened, because they've done a very good job of using fear to control us. And if you don't believe that, if you really think that that's not true, go back to everyone's favorite year, 2020. That year was completely dominated by fear. And no one can say otherwise. There's nothing that you can say to possibly say that 2020 was not dominated by fear. Like I said, man, I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know how bad it's going to be, but I think it's going to happen. I don't know if it's this year. I don't know if it's tomorrow. I don't know if it's next year. 10 years from now. But something's going to happen. I just hope that by then people are a bit more armed and prepared, or maybe they're just going to try and leave the country, because I think that's my goal now. I think I should really just try and leave this country, because there's just no way to be happy here. There isn't. I don't think there is. Life's too expensive. You know, like, your state doesn't respect you as a citizen, doesn't respect you as a sovereign. You don't have rights here. When you really think about it, you don't have any rights. Every right that you think that you have is constantly being enforced by the state to say, nope, can't do that. Right to speech, nope. If you said something unpopular about the government on a Discord server, they will come after you. People have been swatted over that crap. So, yeah, I don't think freedom's here anymore. Perhaps it was to an extent. I still think that the United States Constitution is a very brilliantly written thing if it was actually being followed to the T. You know, it's very beautifully written, but it's not being followed, and I doubt that it ever really was supposed to be followed by many people. You know, maybe they followed it for a time before they felt like they could, you know, gradually increase their power and their grip to like try and just obfuscate it. So, yeah. But I'm just gonna go ahead and I guess conclude it there a bit. This is mainly just about me getting my thoughts out of the old skull, trying to de-stress, trying to stay sane in an insane world, man. And if I guess you feel like you like what you hear, then maybe subscribe, I guess. Maybe stick around, maybe comment, you know. I think we're all just trying to stay sane right now. Thanks for listening. If you have, God bless. I'll see you in the next one.